Yeah, we are now live. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to a special webinar session. Tonight, we're talking about your favorite topic, which is tax. I know you guys love tax, diba? Everyone here loves taxes. I was just doing my taxes. There's a little bit of an echo. I'm not sure where it's coming from. A little bit of an echo. I was doing my taxes a few days ago, and it was very fun. Very fun. I'm being sarcastic. It's not fun at all. But it's something that we have to do, right? It's something that we have to do. If we're freelancers, if we're business owners, it's part of what we have to deal with, right? There are a lot of drawbacks if we don't file our ITR. And today we've got a couple of special guests with us who will guide us through this process. You know, if you read the copy, parang, you have to go to the dentist to take out. You have to go to the dentist to take out the tooth. Same thing, you have to pay your taxes. Things that aren't pleasant, but are kind of some things we have to do. So tonight, well, first of all, guys, if you can hear me and if you can see me, please say hi in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I'm over here in Cebu. Wait, there's someone's echoing. Parang somebody has it on speaker, has the webinar on speaker. But yeah. So yeah, say hi, say hello. Let me know you're watching from. I'm also going to share this in our group, Freelancers in the Philippines. Yeah, and we're getting a couple of people. And we'll share in group. A second here. Freelancers in the Philippines. Tax webinar. Okay. And yeah, we have a couple of people here already. We have a question. I'll save this for later, Muna. Good evening, Afrol. Hazel Lilette from Cavite. Hazel watching from India. Wow, from India. Efrol from Baguio. Ross from Quezon City. Lani from Laguna. Jennifer from Cavite. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And if you have any questions related to tax, related to paying taxes, we're going to answer them later. Just type them in the comment section below. And we're going to get to them after the presentation. I'm not an expert in taxes. I just pay taxes. And that's why we have these experts over here, who I'm going to introduce, right now. And yeah, also guys, we'd really appreciate it if you share this webinar. If you have a lot of friends who are business owners or mga freelancers, hit the share button, share this webinar with them, or you can tag your friends here so that we can learn about taxes, which is part of our responsibility as citizens of the Philippines. All right, so we have our guests tonight. Very excited to introduce our guests tonight. First of all, we have the growth manager from Taxumo. He'll be discussing an introduction into business registration. And this is Mr. Liej Alas.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
There you go. And our second guest for tonight, she is a partner accountant of Taxumo and the founder of Muts Travel and Tours. We have Miss Luningning Mutia Coronel. She's also a CPA. So let's welcome her, guys.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. All right. You guys can clap then, you just use the clap emoji in the comment section to clap for them. Can you guys see the comments ba? Kayong dalawa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys can see the comments. Ayan. Hi also to G. Len from Batangas, April from Lucena. And yeah, we already have a couple of tax questions. We're going to save them for later. Hello, Rosalinda. But yeah, if you have any questions, just type them in. I'll get to them later. So don't worry, we're not ignoring you. We'll get to them later. So, Ledge, are you ready to jump right in and get started?
Yeah, let's jump right in.
Okay. So let's all start. Let me just... Ledge has a PowerPoint presentation. There we go. So Ledge is going to start off talking about business registration. So if you have any questions regarding business registration, you can also type them in the comment section. Let us know what concerns or questions you have, because this is also something important. Which Ledge of course will tell you why and tell you the process on this. All right, Ledge, take it away.
Okay, thanks for having me here and Jason. So let me get started with Business Registration 101. So why register? First of all, RMC 60/2020 by the BIR states that we should all register our business. So it's in the law, regardless if no, like even way before the RMC 60/2020 was published by the BIR, anyone who's earning income outside of employment is required to register with the BIR and file their taxes. And now, beyond that, why should you register your business? So with this, I'd like to just to gamify it a bit. It's 4 picks, 1 word. I'm pretty sure everyone here is aware of that game. So let's get started. So the first one here, can anyone guess? If you know the answer, type it down in the comments, and let's see who gets it first. So we see an official receipt, we see a handshake deal being done, we see a stack of cash and profit. Like, can anyone guess what
May
this?
anong prize nito?
My price to end, you know.
Sige, sasali din ako. Joke.
I'll count from 10, and then if no one can answer, then I'll move ahead. So 10.
Yeah, but take note, Lech, there's like a 10-second delay from
Oh,
like
I see.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it'll take some time for them to see hindi siya real time. You just,
Okay. Okay, then the first one here is Diane Jane Gamez. That's correct. It's bigger clients. So why do you say bigger clients? So everyone. I'm pretty sure most of the composition of the audience here are freelancers. So there would be a stage at your business when you grow it that you would be handling bigger clients, and a lot of these bigger clients would have some sort of vendor accreditation process whereby if you don't have a certificate of registration or an official receipt to present to them, they won't be able to deal with you because that's a requirement on their part. So if you really want to open up your market for these higher ticket clients, higher income clients, then you should register your business, because from there you can get your COR, certificate of registration, and your official receipts from the BIR. And if you're an online seller, like a lot of these platforms have started to, I know a few that require some sort of registration as well before you can sell your products on their site. So at the bottom line is that registering your business would open up to more channels for sales. Next here would be, can anyone guess what this is? You see banks, you see a housing loan, you see Cian Lim driving a car, and an approved sheet. Can anyone guess what this is? Okay, Hazel, correct. It's loan approval. So why do you say loan approval is a benefit of registering your business? So if you're fully employed as a business owner or a freelancer, meaning you only get your source of income from that line of work, then unlike employees whereby you have a luxury of having an HR manager or a boss create your COEs or certificate of employments or your ITRs, that's not something you have as a self-employed individual, and it's not like the banks will really accept a COE signed by you. So in order for you to get that loan approval from the bank, you need to present an ITR. And the only way you can get an ITR is through filing your taxes. And there's no other way around that. Yeah. So that's benefit number 2. Benefit number 3, I think this one is pretty obvious for the travelers out there. So you can see the Statue of Liberty, the Tower of Paris, the Mount Fuji, and passport. Can anyone guess what this is? Yeah. All right. Oh, Hazel, that's twice in a row, the first one. So correct, it's visa required. So I mean, this is in connection with the previous benefit, right? So a lot of these embassies, and when you go through the visa approval process, they would require you to present a proof of income. And unfortunately for self-employed individuals, you don't get the luxury of having someone else to do it for you. The only proof of income that the best proof of income that you would have is your RDR that you file to the BIR every single year. So yeah, that's That's why you should go for a visa required. And last one, this is one of the most this is the obvious one, and I think everyone can get this. So notice to the public, and we have a BIR building. We have some penalties here and a gavel from a judge. Can anyone guess what this is? Okay, just waiting. Okay, Diane Jane, correct, tax penalty. So why is this important? Well, basically, if you follow the tax rules and regulations, you have nothing to fear. But what people don't actually know with the BIR is that they've been beefing up their data analytics team for quite some time now. So there have been cases we've handled in Taxumo whereby someone was registering their business, but then when they went through that whole process at the end, BIR was levying a penalty on them. So why did that happen? So what the situation happened? What happened there was basically they were dealing with registered business with the BIR, and since you have to show the expenses that you've made, say for example, you've dealt with company A, and company A paid you, which didn't have any BIR registration, so they know BIR knows that you don't have a you've been earning BIR knows that you've been earning an income just from the tax filings of other companies. So just be careful there. That's something we want to avoid. So as soon as possible, you should register your business. So basically tax compliance. So why should we do it? So we could get official receipts for bigger clients. We could get the ITR to get bank loans, an ITR for visa applications, and of course, peace of mind. So if you have no tax holes, and you won't have any penalties. So do your duty, leverage your registration, maximize it, comply with your taxes. And our hashtag here is don't be a tax hole. So let's move on to the meat of the business registration topic. So the first thing is that the first question is, should you be a professional, a sole proprietor, a partnership, or a corporation? So from this table here, you can see the government agencies that you'll be dealing with each different business type. So if you're professional, which is what freelancers fall under, you'd be dealing with your LGU, primarily with your OTRs and the BIR as well. For sole proprietorship, you need to go with the DTI to register your trade name, and for partnership and corporation, it's a whole different ballgame because you need to deal with the SEC. What's required for a non-licensed professional or a freelancer? So you would require to submit a Form 1901, which is your registration form, a Form 1905, which is basically to update your contact details, and the most used case for this is in the transfer of RDO, so Revenue District Office. So say for example, because you were employed at the beginning, that your RDO was in Cebu City, but then you decided to move to Bohol and build your business there, then you'd need to move your RDO to Bohol, and that requires a Form 1905. And Form 0605 is what's provided when you pay your registration. And then next here would be your occupational tax receipt. So you get this from your LGU. Basically, it just shows the LGU that they know that you're working in that municipality or city. Now, next is the clear scanned copy of a birth certificate, a marriage certificate, and just a clarifier, if applicable. So you don't actually need to get married if you want to register your business. Proof of billing, you'd be required to provide, like the usual, your credit card statements, telco bill, and all that. 3 copies of 2 valid IDs, the usual as well, passport, driver's license, and UMID. The next one would be the title of property or lease contract, and this is where it becomes a bit more convoluted in a way, because it's all fine and good if the name on the BIR registration is the same name found on the title of the property. But let's say what happens in a situation is like you're living with your mother, and your mother has her name on the title, or you rent a place. So what you'll need to do there is you'll have to ask for a letter from whoever owns the house or whoever owns the property to say that they know that you're conducting business in that place of residence. and they're allowing you to do it. That's all you need to present. Now you need to present a copy of client or project contract. So that's understandable, but let's ask ourselves, so what if I'm just starting out as a freelancer? I don't have any clients or projects yet. So what you'll provide to the BIR is your portfolio. So if you're a videographer, you present your portfolio videos. If you're a photographer, you present your portfolio of images, and the same if you're a web designer, or just to present a portfolio. This is just purely for business categorization purposes. The next is your barangay clearance from your friendly neighborhood barangay. And the next three here, the SPA, letter of intent, and authorization letter, is for when you'd be asking someone else to do it for you. So let's say in the case of Taxumo, where we are also doing business registration, we will need these three from you, the SPA, letter of intent, for us to process. But if you do it by yourself, then you don't need these last three documents. So if you want a copy of this, you just go to the link to the right. That's taxumo.co./requirements-NLP. Now, what if you're a licensed professional, meaning you're a doctor, an attorney, or a accountant? So the only difference here is that you're requesting a PTR, professional tax receipt. You also get this from your LGU. So it's all the same. Then the last one is sole prop. So what happens if you're sole prop? Then the only added requirement here, instead of a PTR and OTR, is a DTI certificate for your trade name registration. So yeah, I think that's everything we need to know for business registration. And I think we can just hop. I think Jason, we can hop onto the questions now.
Okay, that was quicker than I thought it would be. First of all, something very important, Edge. So we have Hazel and Diane, they got tied sa game. I think that's the most important thing we have to talk about tonight. So what are just letting you know, I don't know how you're gonna deal with it. That's your but we have two winners a game mo.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna give away. Anyway, sige.
Just comment, and then I'll find you in the profile, and I'll send you a message regarding your prizes.
Meron talagang prize. I was just messing, pero meron kayong prize, Hazel and Diane. You really have a prize. I don't know what it is. Pero yeah. Okay. Hazel said, yes, dyan ako nadali. Nagka-late penalty ako dahil ang bagal ng RDO transfer. Not really a question, but a statement. Ver Garcia is saying, did BAR 6/2020 relax registration for online seller of goods and services?
Sorry, what's your?
You're on mute. You're on mute. Mutya. I'll unmute you. Hi. Sige, Hi. Sige, unmute yourself lang. Sorry, we were clicking at the same time. Sige, go.
Sorry, nakamute pala. Okay. So for the for the online seller of goods and services, what they do now, what the BIR implement now is that they don't require the mayor's permit for the registration. Most of the time, kasi businesses medyo dyan na-stuck sa pag-process ng entire pag-complete ng registration nila, because the LGU mostly has more requirements and definitely more fees, and before you can actually proceed with the registration with the BIR, you have to settle the LGU processing. So right now, since they exclude the mayor's permit for the processing of the BIR registration, so once you have the DTI, if ever you apply for the DTI, then you can actually proceed with the registration with the BIR. So as long as you have all the other documents as Leach presented, and then if you were able to pay the registration fee for the BIR, which is 500 pesos, and the documentary stamp tax, so it really doesn't cost you much. So you can already complete your registration process, and you can also apply for your printing of official receipt. So that's one thing that they streamlined for that particular RR. So yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, let us know, Ver, if that answered the question, or if you have any follow-ups then. In the meantime, we'll move on to Patricia Tino's question, currently my RDO is in Pampanga and I need to transfer in Marikina ASAP. Can I file in Marikina for the transfer? I can't go to Pampanga at the moment.
Oh, the transfer kasi should be done on where your team is registered. So if it's in Pampanga, maybe one option I can give actually is to email the Pampanga RDO. If you go to the BIR website, there are a directory of the RDOs, and they have email for each RDO. They can try to request for that. Lalo na kasi right now, given the transport system then is not really, I mean, hindi pa lahat normal, I mean, hindi pa lahat accessible. Maybe he or she can request for the transfer via email. There are RDOs naman that accept that. Kasi basically the request for transfer should be done from your current RDO going to the new one. So yeah.
Yes, sige. Baka they can call, no? And just like do a special request right now, no? So Hazel has a question here. I'm registered as sole prop, where I started to hire VAs and web devs as an agency, pero this la full time. Currently, I am still paying tax as sole prop. Do I need to change it to corporation?
No, not really. The sole prop business is related to the VA, or is it?
Um, hmm. I think baka the same business where she's starting to outsource her
No,
work.
actually, there's really no need to actually change it to corporation, and changing it to a different structure is actually discretion of the owner. If you want to change it into a partnership or into a corporation. So, but there's really no need to actually to change it if you're registered now.
Sige, sige. Should we also answer questions not related to registration, pero like taxes in general?
That's okay.
Sige, sige. Because we had a couple here. And guys, ask your questions. I know you might have a lot of questions. So yeah, just keep them coming. This is gonna be like we had a business registration. And Liej, you don't have any other? I don't know. We just have like the presentation for Taxumo later. Nothing. No other main topic.
Yeah, we'll just go through the. It's more important we go through the question. Is that
Yeah. Yeah, well, we can go through it later. But yeah, let's ask some questions. Muna here. So Hazel asked this earlier. Can you do it yourself online since I'm always traveling?
Unfortunately, for the the BIR registration, no, it's really needed to be applied at the RDO. They don't have the online facility yet for the registration process.
How about
But
if
again,
she's already registered tapos paying taxes?
sorry.
How about for paying taxes? She might
For
be,
paying taxes, yes, there are actually online facilities. Like, for example, if you have a union bank account, one of the billers done yung BIR. You can also pay taxes through GCash. And I think DBP, although I haven't used that facility, where you can pay using debit or credit card. Then also, if you are subscribed to Taxumo, which Leach will explain later, they also have that in their platform. I mean, the online filing and the payment. And they have actually a lot of options. Pero so far for the payment of taxes can be done. May mga online facilities to do that.
Yeah, but
yeah.
on
So go ahead.
question, right, you can ask someone to register for you if you don't have the time.
Yes.
So you just present the special power of attorney, the letter of intent, and the authorization letter, and then you can have an accountant or someone else do it for you.
Yeah. Yes. If you really can't facilitate processing it on your own, you can have somebody else. It doesn't need to be an accountant din naman. As long as you have the requirements, you just have to issue an special power of attorney. Kasi now they don't accept na the authorization letter actually. So what will serve as the authorization letter is the SPA. If you want somebody else to do it in your behalf.
Sige, sige. And well, Taxumo offers it as a service din, di ba? The business registration.
Yes,
Yeah.
part of our service.
Yeah, so it's something that, yeah, if you don't have the time, they can also do. Yeah, I pay my taxes with Taxumo. So like I use like you can use BPI or BDO or GCash, or even GrabPay. I've used GrabPay
Yeah,
then. So
it's PayPal as well. If you have and PayMaya.
oh yeah, PayPal, PayMaya. So yeah, there are a lot of options if you're with Taxumo and you're traveling then. Um, Okay, there's a question here from FK Pelaggio. Once registered po this July, do we need to declare our past transactions? According to the memo 60/2020, we are encouraged to voluntarily declare our past transactions subject to pertinent taxes, etc. Those who fail to declare past due taxes or unpaid taxes shall be imposed with penalties under the law. Yun po ibig sabihin na from January kailangan namin i-declare yun this July?
Okay, for that, yes, based on the RMC 60/2020, they are actually that they word is that they encourage us to declare past transaction to be included in the on the current return. Lalo na now kasi 'di ba the RMC, the deadline they gave is until the end of this month. And yung quarterly kasi, lalo na for example, for freelancers who registered as non-VAT taxpayers, ngayon month kasi may filing ng quarterly filing ng percentage tax. So they encourage, well, that's the term. They encourage everyone to include that on the current filing without being imposed a penalty, provided na ma-include nila yon dun sa returns na ifa-file nila ngayon. So that's what actually the RR says. Actually kasi doon hindi naman talaga naka-breakdown yung mga whatever per OR or per month. You just have to include yung whatever computation na ire-report mo. So they don't deliberately say na pwede mo namang hindi sabihin, but they encourage, or hindi mo i-declare, but they encourage you to declare that. So without being imposed a penalty, basta registered ka within the given deadline. So yeah.
Sige. I hope that answered the question. If you guys have any follow-ups, post them in the comment section din. Dylan has a question here. I'm a public teacher po, taxpayer. Hindi ba magiging problema kung mag-register ako sa BIR as freelancer?
Honestly, for that, I think you should refer to your school or to kung ano man yung authorized body kasi for case kasi of those who are employed, then you have a side hustle or you are also a freelancer. Wala namang problem yon. But for public or for those who are rendering services kasi sa government, baka, not really sure, baka kasi they might need permission to to do that if they are going to engage in other services aside from being a public school teacher. So I guess it's best to refer muna to your respective school administrators before
Sige.
doing so.
Pero if she used to be a teacher, tapos she resigned and then is
Mhm.
now a freelancer.
For that, I don't think there will be a problem kasi actually for freelance naman, you will be using the same TIN number, di ba? Kasi as individual ka naman. And kung if you're no longer connected to that school, lalo na kung you're no longer connected to that public school, so kumbaga wala ng possible conflict of interest or conflict sa contract mo, then I guess there won't be a problem registering with the BIR.
So just have to register a sole prop separately, no?
Yes.
Sige. Let me go down here. Ano mga ibang questions? We have the game. Done with this question. Done with this. I'm done with this. Teka lang. Ito. Alfred, can freelancers apply online? Well, I think this was answered earlier, but I guess we'll answer it again. Instead of going physically to their offices, especially it's ECQ here in Cebu.
Okay. Again, so far for the registration process, unfortunately, they don't have the online facility. So you really have to go to the RDO to submit the documents and to secure your certificate of registration and ATP. I mean the authority to print for your receipts. So
Yeah, kailangan talaga.
kailangan talaga.
Pero are they parang aren't they letting up on the deadlines because of the pandemic, or not yet?
Uh, so far kasi when as far as this RR is concerned, kumbaga they are you can actually register anytime. I mean, there's really no deadline when it comes to registration. Siguro yung deadline is if you are a sole proprietor and you already secured your mayor's permit, you should register within 30 days. But for the case of freelancers kasi we don't have ano naman, mayor's permit, um there's really no deadline for it, but what the law imposed is okay, you declare your if you declare your past transactions, we won't impose a penalty. So siguro for the for the purpose of this RR lang talaga, they set the deadline to cover yung mga compliance. Pero as for the registration, even after the July 31 naman kasi, we can always register. Yun lang, as siguro the PTR kasi, there are RDOs na strict na parang dapat yung PTR mo, yung date niya, from the time you get the PTR to the time you get the BIRs, you apply to the BIR, dapat 1 week lang. Merong mga RDOs na ganon. Pero there are RDOs naman, as long as the current year yung PTR mo, then there's actually no problem with that. So, medyo pagdating sa pag-administer kasi, hindi pa rin ganun ka-standard si BIR. Medyo kanya-kanya pa rin sila ng pag-implement minsan, even the documentary requirements.
But otherwise, they can hold off naman on
Yes.
starting the registration process.
So, halimbawa, nag-start lang talaga sila ng practice nila after the July 31. Then there's really no problem with the registration. Ang strict is once naka-registered ka na, you have to comply with the deadline on the tax filing. Ayan talaga doon, mape-penalty ka na pag late.
Sige. See, let us know if that answered the question. Mara Bay is asking, I am rendering my 30-day registration on my office job, and I'm starting on my freelance work on Monday. What should I do? Registration at that time.
Okay. Well, if you are first time to register as a freelancer, I guess what Lish actually explained earlier is what you actually do. You secure your you accomplish your documents. I mean, you complete your documents, then you apply for the registration. Freelance naman siya. So the PTR, the BIR forms. Actually, for the BIR forms, you just need yung kaninang minention ni Lidge na para 0605. Right now, that before kasi yung payment happens in the bank. Ngayon, they accept payment na sa RDO. So the form 0605, pwede nang wala yon. Then the 1901, your PTR, your ID, the proof of address, they only require that actually when your ID, halimbawa ang pinresent mong ID is your passport, which normally includes lang the city, hindi yung complete address mo. Then you have to present a proof of address na yung current address mo. Then again, the SPA is required lang if you are having another person do it for you. But if you are applying on your own, wala na rin yung mga yon. So they actually have streamlined yung processing and yung documentary requirements. So that's basically what she does. Then apply mo lang din, i-submit mo lang yan sa RDO. And for most RDOs, as long as you have complete documents, you can actually receive then your certificate of registration, your authority to print on the same day.
Okay, good to know. But she can hold off naman, di ba? Until she can travel to the RDO if ever. Sige. Rosine, I'm not sure what this question. Does any income range or pwedeng tax exempted ang i-declare?
I think exempted. Okay, eto. So dito, For income tax, meron kasing tinatawag na business tax and the income tax. So what's the difference? Business tax, dalawa siya. If you are VAT registered, obviously yung VAT. Then there's yung counterpart niya for the non-VAT, which I believe for most freelancer, yun yung registration nila. Non-VAT is the percentage tax, which is 3% of your revenue. So yon, actually regardless of amount yon. Ngayon, for the income tax, dito ito yung possible kang ma-exempt. How? So, kasi meron yung regular income tax, meron siyang tax table. Well, if you have been employed before, parang ganun yung ina-apply. Yung may depende sa kung gaano kalaki yung sweldo mo. So, doon. If you are earning 250,000 and below na net income, so what do I mean income? So, of course, you have revenue, then you have your expenses. Siguro for freelancers, hindi masyado yung expenses. Pero yeah, in case you have that, ibabawas mo yung expenses mo. So whatever your net income is, so merong tax table, may tier siya, depending on your net income, yung tax niya will range 20 to 35%. Then meron din kasing tinatawag na flat income tax rate na 8%. So that 8% naman, which actually we recommend actually for freelancers na again wala ngang masyadong overhead. Bakit? Kasi aside sa mas simple siya, flat rate 8%, based siya sa gross actually, disregarded yung expenses. In excess of the 250,000, so mag-a-apply pa rin yung 250,000 na exempt. Yun yung siguro isang tinatanong niya.
For the year.
Oh yeah, basta 250. Provided pala na you are earning purely from your freelance business. Kasi pagka employed ka rin, yung tinatawag nating mixed income earner, kumbaga meron kang earning from your employment and you have earnings from your freelance gig, the 250,000 kasi is being applied na from your salaries. I mean, from your computation ng salary mo, sorry. So, wala na yun. Pero if you're earning purely from your freelance job, so, babawas mo yung 250,000, whatever remains that, you compute it at 8%. Pero, applicable lang yung 8% kapag 3 million below yung annual gross income mo. So, hindi siya pwede basically for VAT, yun din yung threshold for VAT eh. So, pag sa VAT, registered din siya. And ang isa pang perk nung 8% is, or not really perk, but yeah, siguro you can call it that. Pag may 3%, usually kasi yung tax type natin na makikita natin sa COR, registration fee, income tax, and the percentage tax. Pero if you use that 8%, wala na yung 3% na percentage tax na sinabi ko kanina. Kasi nga, pareho siya ng tax base. Yung kumbaga yung pinagkukumputan mo ng tax, pareho. Pareho siyang based on gross. So wala na yung 3%. Dun ka na lang sa 8%. Which is, kaya siya namin nire-recommend, even Taxumo recommends that. Kasi given ito, I believe many of our audience nasa freelance. Since wala kang masyadong overhead, so parang yung gross mo almost similar sa net mo. So parang instead of having a tax na 20 to 35%, you compute it na lang at gross, pero you compute it at the 8%. So ayun, medyo techy or siguro medyo madami numbers ako nabanggit, pero ayun.
I hope you guys were able to follow. Masyadong technical sa numbers, pero yeah, those are the kind of like your options that you have. Sige, I think we're gonna answer it later. Yeah, just know how much does Taxumo charge? We'll answer it later. Yeah, we'll answer this one later. Patricia Tinu's asking, how long usually is the transfer and completion of registration? My contract as a freelancer will start on July 21. If in case it will be completed in August, can I declare my income this July? Thank you.
Okay. For the transfer, shortest would be 3 days. The longest, approximately around a week. Para mag-effect siya dun sa kung ano yung correct na RDO mo. As for the processing kasi, again, as long as you're complete yung documents mo, many RDOs, you can get it within a day, or di kaya the following day, babalikan mo na lang. Kasi means, there are RDOs iniipon, tsaka papapirmahan din, balikan mo. So, yan, can I declare my income this July? Again, if you are a non-VAT registered, the declaration kasi, yung percentage tax na minention ko kanina, it's on a quarterly basis. So that July, kasama na siya sa third quarter filing, which is due on July, August, October. Tapos if you apply for the 8%, so wala yung percentage tax, pero may income tax ka na 8%. Income tax, may quarterly siya and may annual. So the filing for that for quarterly is on November. So you can include that sa declaration mo for the third quarter.
Sige. So yeah, you can just parang backtrack.
Actually, if you register din naman, yung COR, merong parang table yon sa on the lower part na nandun yung mga deadlines. So you pwede mong maging guide yon on when you will go into file.
Okay, thank you. Melba has this question. How is if I am employed up to this month and I will shift to freelancing the next month? My employer already filed our 2316 last Feb. Do I need to register again as self-employed for this year? What if I can't have a client and no income?
Okay. Again, as for registration, of course, we are encouraged na to register. So as to, I believe the 2316 you mentioned is the ITR issued by your employer for the past year. Kasi yung 2316 naman is annual basis siya. So if tama ba? If you don't have a freelancing gig naman the previous year, so yung 2316 mo, okay na siya, wala na siyang kinalaman dito sa freelance work mo this year. So then if you will register, an example, wala kang client, you can actually file naman yung you still need to file, but you don't, obviously walang tax due. Kasi of course, kung wala kang client, you don't have revenue, you don't have earnings, walang basis yung tax mo. But you need to file. Kasi may mga online platform, and one of them in Taxumo, wherein you just file a zero return for that. Kasi many actually were penalized for this na kasi wala akong transaction ngayon, so hindi ako magpa-file. What they don't know is if you don't file, kahit zero pa yan, the penalty is 1,000. So sayang yon. Actually, before, yung percentage tax na sinasabi ko, dati yung monthly basis. I have a friend, binayaran niya equivalent to 2 years, 24 months. So, di ba, parang from 0 to 1,000, malaking bagay yon. 4 quarters siya, pero again, kung wala ka ng client, tapos you pay pa for penalties. So, pwede naman kasi yun, basta na zero return, ina-accept naman.
So, basta may TIN ka na, they'll expect a quarterly na...
Yes. Kumbaga, once you're issued a COR na, lahat ng nakatag na tax type doon, you have to comply to it. Halimbawa, if you're, if you are kasama sa tax type mo is percentage tax, then income tax. Meron siyang quarterly, yung income tax may quarterly and annual. You have to file that. But again, if you don't have transaction, you don't have client, you just file it as a zero return.
Per in this case, she has a 2316 for the current year. If she, like before she gets clients, can she just not register muna as a sole prop para she won't have to file?
Actually, for ang tingin ko dito for the 231s, kung current year yung 2316 niya, kung for 2020 yung 2316 niya, actually, ang magkakaroon lang naman siya ng effect if ever, halimbawa, nag-apply siya later on pa rin within 2020 ng as a freelancer, as a sole proprietor. Kumbaga yung need kasi siyang i-consolidate sa annual ITR. Pero if yung 2316 niya na in-issue sa kanya nung February, it pertains to her 2019 income or mean salary, yung annualization ng salary niya. Actually, wala siyang magiging effect sa any tax filing niya for the current year eh. Kahit mag-register siya as new.
Pero she can just not register muna habang wala siyang client.
Yes. Habang kung wala talaga siyang client, she can defer that.
Okay. Thank you. This is pricing ulit na question. We'll get to it later. That just has a presentation with like the benefits and the pricing of Taxumo, which we'll get to later after the questions. Outs baka pala makaroon ng conflict. This is the yung teacher kanina. She'll ask.
Actually, hindi ko kasi alam exactly kung ano yung rules pagka ganon. Pero I think kasi talaga pag sa public school or anything na related sa government, parang kailangan yata talaga ng permit before you do other transaction.
Sige. Mahar is asking, paano kung may existing business na tapos gusto din mag-register as freelancer? So may sole proprietorship nata siya?
Yes, actually, yes, pwede mo i-apply siya. What will happen to the freelance business or the freelance na work niya, actually, the same thing will be used. Ang mangyayari lang, parang magiging branch mo yung freelance business mo. Diba, our PIN consists of 9 digits, then sa dulo may 000. So, pag nag-register ka nung freelance mo, magiging 001. It will appear as a branch. Then, yung tax type, halimbawa na non-VAT, naka-register na siya ng non-VAT. Yung mga percentage tax, income tax, usually consolidated yan. So what you will see in your COR for your freelance business, wala na yung ibang business and income tax. Pero it doesn't mean that you don't declare your income from that. It's just that i-consolidate mo siya do sa mother tin. I believe ang magiging tax type lang ng freelance niya will be the registration fee kasi yon per type of business na siya or for COR na.
Pero does she still need to get another DTI for her freelance or?
If she is going to use a different business name, then she is required to get she will get DTI. Pero again, the DTI kasi is optional. She can actually just use her name.
Okay, yeah, you can just use her name. Okay, that's good to know. Hazel, bakit kaya ako ni-require ng mayor's permit at bayad ng tax sa municipality?
Okay. Ganito kasi, yung mayor's permit kasi actually, ang may jurisdiction dyan yung LGU. Yung the local government, the city or the municipality. Unlike si BIR, ang jurisdiction naman niya is the business and the income tax nga. So, even though yung si BIR, winave niya yung mayor's permit as part of the requirements, your LGU might require it from you pa din. Sa freelance, again, walang problema kasi we're not required to get a mayor's permit, diba? The PTR will do. But for those, like example, yung online sellers, or if you're on a sole proprietor na talaga, na type of business, they might require you. Kasi magkaiba sila ng jurisdiction.
Sige. Yung LGU, depende. But I should know when I register, can I choose 8% rate?
Yes, actually. As long as, again, the 8%, as long as you don't exceed the 3 million threshold, you can apply for that 8%.
But just to clarify, what's right? Like the 8%, you have to commit to that for 1 year, right? If you decide
yes, for that. Again, to add to that, once even yung mga existing na, baka there are some people here na matagal nang registered, you can actually opt for the 8%, pero provided you do that on the first filing quarter. So for ngayon, tapos na yung first quarter, so nakapag-file na. You cannot shift to 8%. Maybe next year, on the first quarter filing next year, you can use the 8%. Pero dapat for the entire year, you use the 8%. Hindi pwedeng mag-8% ako ngayon. Naka-regular tax rate ako ngayon. Then, on the middle of the year, mag-shift na lang ako to 8%. So, hindi siya pwede. Once you use it on the first quarter, dapat ganun na siya for the entire year.
Sige. Itong question ni Eileen, I think it's the same as Mars' question earlier, na she has a business and then she wants to add freelancing. So, same sa kanina, di ba? Sige, let's move on na lang because we have more questions coming in pa. Jennifer Molar, paano po kung kaka-resign ko pa lang from my job last May, hindi pa ako nag-file ng 231, hindi pa na-file yung 2316 ko kasi last year iba din employer ko at hindi ko pa napasa 2316 ko from my last year employer.
Wait, sorry, medyo ginag-grasp ko lang. Hindi pa na-file yung 23. Hindi. Clarification lang, yung hindi pa na-file na 2316 is for last year or for current year?
Parang both, pagka-hindi ko.
Kasi for the 2316 for the current year, possible talaga na hindi pa yun na-file. Kumbaga, if she resigns, ginawan lang siya for purpose ng computation since nag-resign siya, pero hindi pa yun na-file. Yung last year, dapat yun na-file na ng employer mo. Kasi tapos na, tapos na yung filing nun for the employers. Now, if you have a freelance job na then last year, dapat yung 2316 mo is na-consolidate mo doon sa final mong income tax. But if you don't have kumaga hindi ka naman multiple employer last year and you don't have a freelance business, then there's no problem with that. Kasi yung final ng employer mo, yun na yun. Now, if yung current 2316 mo naman, hindi mo pa siya kailangan i-file, if ever lang na you will be hired again in another company, so meaning multiple employer ka na, next year, kasi yun yung June ng syempre in 2020, the deadline for the annual tax filing will be next year, on April next year, provided na walang ganitong extension. You have to consolidate that. Yung 2316 na in-issue sa'yo ngayon, ng employer mo, you have to use that kasi yung mga information dyan, that will be consolidated doon sa income mo. Ngayon, if you also registered as a freelance ngayon, again, yung 2316 na in-issue sa'yo, you will be needing that once you file your annual ITR next year. So hindi, yung 2316, in-issue lang siya sa'yo ng employer mo for your reference. Pero, ipa-file mo talaga siya for next year.
Okay, thank you. Joseph Viesk is asking, how much does BIR impose in terms of penalties? Is there a computation?
Yes, yeah. For BIR penalties, merong 3 items. Actually, if nakita niyo yung 4PIX, if naalala niyo yung 4PIX one word kanina, di ba meron dong penalties? So surcharge, interest, and compromise penalty. Surcharge is 25% of tax due. So whatever yung supposed tax mo, 25% mo is surcharge. Interest naman is 20%, I think. 20% per annum. So kumbaga prorated siya. So parang sa banks din, kung late ka ng bawa 1 month, so i-prorate 20% times 1/12. Then the compromise penalty, actually that one, meron kasi siyang table, depende sa tax type and the amount. So minimum niya is 1,000. So kaya yung late filing na walang tax due, 1,000. Kasi obviously walang basis ng computation for the 25 and the 20%, then the minimum is 1,000. Pero yun nga, pag may tax due, yun, mag-a-apply na yung 25 na surcharge and 20% na interest.
Okay. Ghislaine has a question. Last question, hindi related to tax. Okay lang ba maging freelancer ang isang government employee? Well, Di ba depende?
Yes,
Sa contract.
depends. Kasi alam ko, usually nga pagka government employees, mukhang kailangan nila ng Kasi like for travel, di ba? Pag government employee ka, you need parang to secure a permit. Kasi nasa travel din ako, so for visa requirement, hinihingi din namin yun. So I think, again, I'm not sure, but I think merong ganon, kasi baka may conflict of interest or something. So better refer to your, kung sino man yung manager mo or your department, to clarify muna para to make sure na wala ka ring na-violate. Kasi baka meron silang mga restriction when it comes to being a government employee and at the same time dealing with, for example, sa business.
Sige. Pero advice ko lang, you can start looking for clients naman right now. Don't resign right away, Jeline. You can start looking for clients siguro, and then ayun, if you get, then you can resign naman. That's what I would recommend. Huwag ka muna mag-resign until you have, I guess, a steady client. Or kahit mga project-based na one time, huwag ka muna mag-resign because it's just something small. Pero once may steady income ka na, that's when you can look to resign. Huwag muna ngayon. And then the public school naman won't really know if you're doing mga small things on the side. So, ayun. Sige, FK Palacio is asking, what if the client contract shows that I started Feb and then August po ako nag-register? Are there any penalties?
Contract. Actually kasi, you would not really have to show the contract, pero the problem kasi if your client nagwi-withhold sa'yo.
So local, Philippine.
Yeah. Pag may mga ibang client, diba, they withhold with taxes from you. Then meron kasi silang certain reporting, yung tinatawag na SEWT, na nandun na yung PIN mo or something. So pwede kasing pwedeng upon your registration hindi ka ma-penalize, pero pwedeng later on yung mga filings mo magkaroon ng tax implication. So ayun lang siguro yung isang risk na doon. Yung isang risk na nakikita ko doon.
Pero if foreign, wala namang problema because they won't show the contract naman.
Sige, may addition si Mitch.
So just correct me if I'm wrong, mas diba, let's say, kasi yung RMC 60-2020, they're waiving the penalties up until July 31st if there's anything that's occurred in the past year. So if there's anything that's yung best time to register, it's actually this month, right?
Mm-hmm. Siguro yun pa, they can actually take advantage of kung ngayon lang sila mag-register, yun nga, register na sila ngayong month na to para hindi rin mag-impose ng penalty.
Sige. Is there proof of income for freelancers? No, diba? We'll just answer it no.
Proof of income, well, your one is your ORs, and then yung mga contracts. If you have contracts or agreements with your clients, that can serve as proof. For tax or for accounting purpose lang naman talaga, ang sinasabi nila, basta may substantiation. So what do you mean by that? Basta may support na, okay, again, your agreement, your contract with them can serve as support.
Pero upon registration, no need naman, di ba?
Yes, upon.
Sorry, baka na-explain. We're kind of out of time, so I'll run through some of the questions here quickly. For this, Hazel, it depends. I won't read it na. For it depends. There's a calculator naman on Taxumo's website, diba? That compares the 8% versus the regular na rate. So you can check out the calculator. In most cases, to keep things simple, 8% ka na lang para less headaches.
Actually,
go ahead. What's that?
No, so go ahead.
Sige. Vittorio, I'm currently working as a consultant. I have not filed my ITR ever since I started working. How is the penalty computed. He's been working for 3 years. Hindi siya nagpa-file. So he's asking about penalties on that, and then filing his first ITR.
Been working for 3 years. Again, like I've mentioned, yung penalties, meron siyang three compositions: the surcharge, interest, and the compromise penalty. So whatever is the tax due, so for example, ITR, then you compute based on the 8%. So your gross income times 8%. So whatever the result of that is your tax due. Then if you are, your penalty will be computed based on that. For example, na-compute 10,000 yung tax due mo, then you will, 25% of that will be your surcharge, 20% of that will be your interest, pero times 3 siya. So, kung 3 years na siya, so times 3 yon. And then, again, the compromise penalty, meron kasing table yon, depending on the amount and the tax type. So, it may vary. So, that's how it will be computed. And it's best siya if yung yung pagpapa-compute actually should be in your RDO kasi para ma-validate. May validation din kasi silang ginagawa doon. So that matag nila, okay, it is compute, etong tax na to, kinompute to as of this date. Kasi yung interest nag-run eh. So, basically, and as for the ITR, yun nga, it depends on the return na ifa-file mo. Merong specific returns or tax forms depending on the tax type. Pero if we're just talking of the income tax return, we have the 1701Q for the quarterly tax, then the 1701 for the annual. So, like if you're subscribing kay Taxumo, actually input mo na lang yata yung sales mo doon. For other, kung magma-manual ka, well yon, compute, medyo magko-compute ka, pero meron namang mga nakatag naman doon. Saan mo ilalagay yung sales mo, and kung saan mo siya ito, kung ano pa yung mga, kung may expenses ka, kung saan mo ilalagay yung expenses mo. So, yan.
To keep things simple, mag-Taxumo lang kayo para you don't have to worry about that. John Banyaga, currently corporate, planning to do freelancing. Do I still need to register separately my income tax or let my employer know about it?
Well, for you don't have to file it separately, and as I've mentioned, kasi since you will be issued the same number, so consolidated siya. What you actually do is you get your 2316 from your employer, then you consolidate it with your annual income from your freelance work. So from doon sa return, actually meron ding portion doon where you indicate or where you include that those numbers.
Sige. Maria Alvido, how do they monitor it? I mean, what if someone will file na zero pero may income naman pala? Another question, if you have multiple businesses, different names. So 2 questions siya. Okay. How do they monitor it?
How do they monitor it? Again, like what I've said, for those na you have clients who are withholding tax from you,
Local clients.
Since they are reporting whatever they are paying from you and whatever they withhold from you, so magkakaroon ng tracking. Kasi parang, okay, this company or this particular taxpayer, he or she paid this amount to this freelancer, for example, and they will hold. So how come itong client, itong freelancer na to, wala siyang declaration ng income? May ganung kasi yung SAWT, summary of alpha list withheld. So para kasi siyang database, para it's another platform ni BIR wherein you input doon yung mga TIN numbers and kung sino man yung payee mo. So parang nagiging database siya. So mata-track. That's one way of tracking. For the multiple businesses naman with different names, so if you are you applied it under a different name, halimbawa may DTI talaga siya, then you have to apply for it on, since kasi may, kumbaga yung DTI mo, siya yung trade name mo eh. You have to apply it separately na. Pero again, per business, magiging per branch siya. So yung sinabi ko kanina, magiging 001 sa business number 2. Then kung may another business ka pa, then 002. So, pero the registration process will always be the same, pati yung documentary reports.
But if you have foreign clients, they have no way of tracking. Yung bearers no way of tracking. Only local clients na they withhold. Jacqueline Raka, what if registering yung business sa DTI and mayor's office pero hindi pa sa BIR? Gusto na daw nilang i-register sa BIR. Can they close their business in one of those offices?
Okay. Kasi actually for the mayor, if may mayor's permit na, so they can actually proceed with the registration sa BIR. As to closure naman, well, actually option nila yon. Pero again, kahit hindi na kasi required ni BIR yung mayor's permit, since ang may jurisdiction sa mayor's permit is LGU, they still might require it. Tsaka, yung process kasi of closure is not actually as easy. Sometimes, mas difficult pa siya do sa registration. Kasi pag in-apply nyo ng closure yon, may documentation, at least hindi ka magpapa-affidavit ka, you will be required to get a closure or parang business closure certificate from the barangay, and then you have to apply sa mayor's permit, and as a mayor's office nung then you might also be charged for that. So I guess it's better if they weigh muna yung options nila before actually closing yung business with DTI.
Okay. Ayan, looks like naubos na yung questions. Finally, we're finished with all the questions. Yay! Ang daming mga tanong. We had a really long Q&A. Thank you so much, Mutia, for answering, for being very diligent at answering the questions. There were a lot, but you were able to answer them. Let's thank Ma'am Mutia for answering the questions and being very generous with her knowledge.
Thank you. I hope it brings at least clarification more than confusion. At hindi masyadong confused. So let's pass it on to Lige. We'll talk more about Taxumo, and he's gonna talk more about what Taxumo offers, as well as the pricing, which a lot of you asked about earlier.
If what a lot of people don't, Taxumo is actually a web application platform for filing and paying your taxes. So it works on any browser and any device. So anywhere in the Philippines, you can file and pay your taxes. So it's just very simple. You just enter your income and expense on our UI, and then automatic na yung tax calculation. So as soon as you enter the income and expense, it automatically shows you the liability that you owe to the BIR. So no need for manual computation there. And then, so since we asked for your business information at the beginning of the sign-up process, then we automatically fill out the BIR form for you. So it's basically seamless. You don't need to write every single one. And then we can submit that to the BIR via us. So there's no handover from your end to the BIR. And then you can quickly pay online through Taxumo. So there's multiple payment gateways on Taxumo. So unlike the manual process where you have to go to the banks and line up, you can pay through GrabPay, PayMaya, PayPal, over-the-counter banks, or online banking as well. And also buy at centers if that's more convenient to you. And then online books of digital accounts. At the end of the year, you're required to submit your books of accounts. So you just copy and paste whatever you put here and submit that, or you can apply for a loose leaf books of accounts with the BIR, print that and hardbound it, but you need that separate registration in of itself. And then via machine learning, you can weigh your options in Taxumo. Will the 8% be better, or with the other tax types be better? So we'll let you know in the system as well which one would minimize your tax liability. And then other services we have is that you can also pay SSS and pag-ibig through Taxumo right now. PhilHealth is being worked on it, coming real soon. If you're not registered, we can do the business registration for you, and it's kind of dependent as well if you have Taxumo partner accountants in your residence. So how much is it? So that's what happened earlier. So for freelancers, for non-licensed and licensed professionals, it's $4,999 until July 31st. But this is excluding government expenses. So yung mga ORs and those other expenses, you'll have to shoulder that. This is mainly yung processing fee from us. So if you want us to contact you, just register through taxumo.co/bizreg promo or scan this QR code, and then it will lead you to a Google form. And then no questions. I think we've answered all the questions. So the questions for Taxumo pricing is that for the 8%, that's 888 per month if you offer monthly billing. But if you go for yearly, it's cheaper if you go yearly. So it's 700 pesos per month if you go for yearly billing for 8% plan, and it's also cheaper as well for the micro business and SMB. So the current rate here is actually the monthly billing. So if you go to taxumo.com/pricing, you'll find the pricing there. So if you use the code DAP10 off, you'll get 10% off any of our subscription plans. So just use that when you check out. And that's all from my end. Thank you so much, Jason, for having us.
All right, thank you. It was the monthly rate. Hazel was asking if it's the yearly rate. It's a monthly rate.
The one it was the monthly, so it's cheaper. It's actually 700 for the 8% plan if you go for the annual.
Yeah, 700 per month if you go for annual. So that's like 8,400 for a year, and it covers like the bunch of different forms under the 8% rate, diba?
Yeah. So Hazel and Diana, I'll get in touch with you in the Facebook comments regarding your price.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Well, I really want to thank you guys for spending the time with us. For spending the time with our community, sharing your knowledge, and answering all the questions. Telling us, for sharing your knowledge, answering questions. Thank you, Ledge, for talking about business registration and also Taxumo, and thank you, Mamutya, for, of course, answering the hard questions when it comes to taxation and registration. Thank you everybody who stayed on. We're really glad that you stayed. I know it got technical because we had we have a couple of technical questions, but you guys stayed and we really appreciate it. Hindi ko pa na-prepare yung slides dito. But just a couple of announcements as well, guys. Next week, we have a few upcoming webinars. Next Saturday on 5 p.m., I'm going to have a webinar on how to start a work-from-home career. So this is a webinar for newbies. If you are a newbie or if you know other newbies, have them come next Saturday at 5 p.m. Okay, this is more for newbies, just to introduce them to freelancing, parang yung basics of freelancing. Most of you guys aren't newbies, but maybe you know some newbies. And then you can invite them to next week's webinar. That's July 11 at 5 p.m. July 24 at 5 p.m. We have a webinar. We don't really have a title, it's still pending, but that's next Friday on July 24 at 5 p.m. It's with J3 Patino. He's going to be talking about investments and investing your money and short-term and long-term investments. So that might be something to look out for as well. Okay, so those are our upcoming webinars, guys. Thank you so much once again. Thank you, Ledge. Thank you, Mutya, for staying on. Thank you, everybody, for attending. And I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Bye, guys.
Bye.